show focusing on Nougat-centrism. I'm Dr. Nougat-centric, the man who believes that Chattanooga and East Ridge, Red Bank, Saudi Daisy, Ottawa, Tiftonia, that these locales are the center of the universe. And if we just think in terms of lococentrism, we'll get further. Think locally, act locally, or perhaps we could say think globally and act locally. That's what Tip O'Neill once advised the Greens to do. We are here and glad that you are giving us just a couple minutes of your time. We have things to consider that are sort of out of the norm, though the norm, you could say, is established by the news cycle. Nougat.com, Chattanoogan.com, TV9, TV3, Chattanooga Times Free Press, Chattanoogan.com, and of course, Nouganomics.com, the website that just gives you small doses of very high octane material. Our sponsor, also, yournews.com. The number is 800-8949. That's 800-8949. And wanted to have you put a mark on your calendar for the 23rd and 24th of the month. There's an event, the 36th annual Chattanooga Waterfront Triathlon. That's Saturday the 23rd and the 24th, downtown Chattanooga. Nooga Radio will be broadcasting at the expo on Saturday and Sunday from throughout the course of this event. So come out and visit us for this huge thing. Sam Jordan will be there and broadcasting on a bicycle on the day of the race. That Sunday. And we'll be there with our remarkable yellow Hummer, the eye magnet on the road that often I'm traveling about in. David Toulis, and the number is 800-8949. We're so concerned about Korea. I heard yesterday, and I was in a hospital room actually a couple of days ago, and CNN News was flowing, and it made reference very, very excitedly about the North Korean million-man army. Well, it's funny how this agreement between President Trump and the dictator of North Korea is shocking the news people, and up until now, of course, North Korea was a grave threat to the Americans. But just think about this: that the Tennessee economy is 24 times larger. The GDP of North Korea in 2011 was about 12 billion, and the GDP of Tennessee in 2007 was just over 240 billion. So it's about 24 times larger. We don't have really anything to worry about from the North Koreans, and so you go ahead. I'll let you feel relief and a sense of calm now that we have made peace with our great enemy, Pyongyang, and of course President Trump is dealing with these people on the Korean Peninsula, North and South, saying he's not going to have continuing military exercises with the South, and that also is said to stunning the region. TV9 has in its report this morning from the Associated Press, ending a long militaristic sort of imperial tradition of our client state engaging in fair play on the seas and in the skies and on land, showing we're powerful together, and coordinating radio signals and trying to get the best Anglophones on the Korean side to be the people on the phone and on the radio receiver and mouthpiece, so that we can communicate. Our troops and sailors and airmen can get along and show for the cameras that are watching to deliver a few seconds of news clip to the evening news how courageous and brave and grand these forces are. David Toole is here, a skeptic of the American imperial spirit, of course, the spirit of democracy, I guess I should say, and not impressed, not really wanting to encourage military service, not really wanting to encourage more war-making production, and not really in agreement, because I'm a lococentrist, with the idea of expanding the American military beyond what it already is, thinking rather it should be shrunken down drastically, as war seems to be ever more passe, or ever more out of date, less and less likely on the grand scale for which we are prepared, right, for war with our Abrams tanks and our fabulous flying machines and high tech. David Toulis arguing that you should love your neighbor, and by local Nougat-centric, Dr. Nougat-centric, and the blogger with the biggest pen. I have a story attacking myself at Euronews.com. The story is about the rebukes that my review of a local traffic court has engendered among the local people, particularly in East Ridge, since I'm writing about Chris Hilton's traffic court in the City Hall building on Tombras Avenue in East Ridge. Totally negative comments. My defense, of course, is for the law and for the poor people who are ground under law. Minority waitresses, immigrant family members, and people who just can't pay their way out of the stack of fines and fees that have been piling up on them, and they can't ever get right with the commercial government to get their driver's licenses in order. So they are, for example, Jeremy Shepard, 10 years out of sorts with his papers, owing $3,000 in debt, doesn't have a job, looking for work, asking me, "Do you have a job at the radio station?" And I could not rely on him to come on the show. Just he was not able to get here. And so people like him are, I say, ground under the machinery of commercial government. And as I point out, the statute is very clear, and yet the main statute used against immigrants, which is the must exhibit on demand statute, doesn't apply to people who don't have driver's licenses. It simply does not apply to them. It is aimed at licensees who are required to exhibit license when demanded by an officer. That's the statute's language. It's very wooden sounding, very clear on account of that. Now, we are the platform that makes a minority position, and I've been putting forth what is a position that shows how widespread disrespect of the law is. Because the law in Tennessee is so widely disrespected, my reporting on a particular local court is held in disdain by every commentator on Facebook. Every single commentator on Facebook was angry or frustrated that I'm defending defending people on the road without having driver's licenses or insurance, which I do that. That is correct, because that is legally tenable. In fact, that is the way the law in Tennessee Code Annotated 55 is written. It is written only for people who are involved in transportation. Now, Sean Phipps is a writer at Nougat.com. He covers society. He covers the arts, bands, restaurants, and has a great story on this point. By the way, it is about a couple, Mike Ballard and his wife Angela, who are taking a year off, and I just wanted to highlight a couple details just to give you a sense of who they are and the voluntary and willful and cheerful and self-directed and free movement of this couple. They're planning a trip of a lifetime, as he says, a whirlwind 11-month travel adventure to 7 continents and 150 countries and territories. And at the end of that, they plan to relocate somewhere when their son graduates from high school, it says in a few years. At first, it was just going to be a few weeks, Angela said. The trip just grew and grew, she tells Sean Phipps. Every time he would look on the map and plan the next stop, he would see all those phenomenal things and plan to visit. So this couple has been saving for 5 years and has been planning for a year this trip. But the point that I want to make is that travel is free, and that is what this couple is doing, as Sean Phipps describes it. They're beginning. They'll be writing about their adventures, of course, and they'll be making photographs. And one point, again, in the same vein as travel being free and sort of grace bearing, they will be photographing and writing about the adventure as part of a quest to promote peace through experience and understanding. It is a trip for which I've been preparing my whole life, and one which could only be realized through my marriage to Angela, he says. For I found in her a wanderlust that only amplifies my own, and an optimism that has reinforced the same in me. So what they're wanting to established by travel, again, not by transportation, but by travel. They're wanting to show you might say, the effect of Christianity on the human race. The gospel is all about grace. It's all about forgiveness. It's all about looking out for the other, making the other person successful, right? If you have people who believe in God, you don't have people who kill their babies, for example. When you kill your child, you say, your life for mine. When you believe in Jesus, a Christian would tell you, you say, my life for yours. It's just the reverse. And so here you have this couple as travelers who hold firm to the belief, they say, that people throughout the world are generally kind, gracious, and welcoming. Indeed, it has already been our experience that this is true. So what they're hoping to do is find, when I say the grace impulse in all people, they're like humanity. Well, they are all made in God's image, right? And their trip is in the world of travel. Again, travel, I'm making a legal argument here, just by the way, if you didn't realize it. Travel is distinct from transportation. Transportation is under orders. Travel is under, as the Ballards say, under wanderlust, right? Freely moving about for pleasure and finding like-minded people, and finding people who are not like-minded, but with whom, nonetheless, one can have a connection. One can have a sense of unity and connection, a sense of identification. The number, by the way, is 800-8949, 800-8949. Near is better than far, small than big, simple than complex, and personal is better than corporate, I suggest, and physical better than abstract. So you have this distinction that I'm making: travel versus transportation. City courts pretend that everybody's involved in transportation and that no one is involved in travel. And yet travel is movement, and travel by car is free if you're not involved in transportation. Now, we have transportation in the story big time today, and I wanted to just mention some of the details. Number one, there's a story about 4 paramedics, and we're told by TV9 that they were transported to a hospital out of Bonnaroo. They had apparently they had inhaled some carbon monoxide poisoning, and suspicious for their health, they were told by TV9 transported to a hospital. And that is important, because transportation is when you're hired to carry someone somewhere, maybe on a cot or in a bed or in a gurney. That's called transportation. And you're under orders, right? The orders are of the doctor to get that paramedic who's gasping to the hospital immediately. So it's a paid service, and you are under orders, and you're involving yourself in a regulable activity. Now, Don Poole is a criminal court judge here in Hamilton County. David Toole is here. Thanks for tuning in 92.7 FM. We are 92.7 and also 95.3 HD4. That's high definition TV4. The signal ranging out 65 miles. The real signal, right? This is a real airwave signal. This is not podcasting. This is the real airwaves, the real narrowcasting and broadcasting waves. Judge Poole, we are reading in the reports from yesterday's dealings downtown, is denying a request for reduced sentence for Jonathan Walker. Jonathan Walker, remember, was the Woodmore bus crash driver. He was a man involved in the commercial use of the roads through doing school services. And his state-appointed attorney had asked for a reduction in the sentence, which had been 4 years. And Judge Poole says, I think the thing that caused this to happen was because of the excessive speed of this defendant. Again, not a great sentence, but that's what the judge is quoted by Nougat.com, Clary Morrison, the news editor, as having said, the part of the decision that Poole said he found difficult was whether Walker qualified as a dangerous offender, which would have resulted in a more enhanced punishment. Now, he was charged under the transportation statute, which again covers transportation, which is the commercial use of the road. And since he was involved in a regulable activity, violating the rules of the road, violating the tenure of his employment. He was an employee taking orders, and that is what transportation is. It's different from travel, right? Jonathan Walker was not a traveler. He was a transporter. He was a driver and an operator. Now, it's interesting how in my house I have I have 4 children. I have one left, age 15, a young man, very, very lanky, a little stooped. And my sons, I'm 6'2", my sons, except for the eldest, are all getting to be taller than I am. He's as tall as I am. And yet his ideas are not as tall as mine, and not perhaps as lofty. He's working on getting a driver's license, and his mom is considering all the paperwork that has to be involved in that. A school transcript, we're homeschoolers, but we have a shelter school, an umbrella school that gives us our paperwork that is our interface with state government. With Aaron Academy, we don't have to deal with state government directly, but you might see that our school, the Toulouse Homeschool, is under the care of this paper shuffling organization, which also runs a real school, by the way, in Hendersonville, Tennessee. But we're under that school, or I say enrolled in that school for administrative services, getting from that school a transcript for this young man to become an operator of a motor vehicle and to become a driver. Again, those are commercial terms in the statute, as I have made note in correspondence with local officials, including Sheriff Hammond and the prosecutor, Neil Pinkston. Another story that's on the same point is out of the Chattanooga Times Free Press. Mike Perry, the deputy business editor, is telling about a company that is raising capital. It's a startup business, and it's raised another $13 million in capital. Apparently, very eager investors are confident that some of the same people involved with other profitable transportation businesses will make a great business from FreightWave, which is the name of this company. FreightWaves has raised about $18.4 million, Mike reports, over its first 2 years, making it perhaps the largest Chattanooga startup in recent time. We're looking forward to working with Craig Fuller and his team on building $1 billion company that will bring transparency and risk management solutions to the global freight industry. That's Jake Medwell, a BVC partner. BVC is a San Francisco-based venture capital business. And that company participated in FreightWave's seed funding initially, and has supported the company's mission of creating an analytics platform and a freight futures market for surface freight transportation. So notice here the vocabulary. Again, we're talking about a legal concept here, and that is to say transportation. Transportation is what Access America does. That's what Coyote does. That's what Current Transport does. Chattanooga is home to 2 big shippers. U.S. Express is the other. And both are involved in engaging and hiring drivers and operators. You'll often see ads for drivers and operators. These are people who sit behind the wheel in the regulable activity of transportation. First, the company, which is currently headquartered at 1500 Chestnut Street, is seeking more space in downtown Chattanooga. The Times Free Press reports where it plans to relocate home office functions to a more premier location. Fuller, let's see the first name. Craig Fuller, that's right, the company's CEO. He said revenues are expected to jump from 700 to 800% year over year. So you have expanding market service and capitalists fighting to get their dollar bills into the hands of a transportation business, which again makes a profit carrying people, not people in this case, but carrying property, physical goods from place to place in the regular activity of transportation. But how is it that teenage boys, how is it that we all think that there is no freedom of movement? We all think that there is no movement possible by the conveyance of our choice. We have to enter into the stream of commerce under commercial government to become licensees. 15-year-olds fighting to get their driver's license on their 16th birthday to become operators and drivers. It is a cultural phenomenon, and one that it's been ingrained in us by repetition, by custom, by no reference to any law anymore, but just this is what we do, and we are not free to travel about. We can't exercise wanderlust by car. We're told, do it by bike. We can do it on a scooter, perhaps maybe a wagon pulled by a horse. maybe on a red fire wagon pulled by a teenager pulling his small brother. That's kind of that. You can do that, but you can't get into a car door. That is a legal mistake. To say that it's a legal mistake, and everybody makes it. And 100% of jurisdictions in Tennessee, likewise. David to West Media Radio. We're going to hear about the Red Bank riot caused by not by young black people, but the cops.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
A woman fell from the wild lightning at Lake Winnie. Investigators tell the TFP that a 42-year-old fell